Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is episode 2 of the Sus-essful podcast, the Sus Pod. Once again, Brendan and JT here. Incredible first episode, right, JT?
Yep. Thank you guys for all the love. We didn't even know when we were gonna film our second episode, but we just decided to hop on here right after the games, after all the round one games of March Madness wrapped up, and we literally just hopped on, wrote some notes, a little outline, and we're here.
Yep. A lot of good feedback. I know we'll be better even this time. We're gonna keep getting better, but let's start it off. I think the best way to start off is NFL free agency. Crazy news. I feel like this free agency has been crazy, better than like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, seriously.
AFC West still loaded. Last time when we talked, we were talking about maybe Davonte Adams, where he'd go and stuff. And I think I guess I didn't want it to be true, and he called it. But Davonte Adams to the Raiders.
Yeah, well, we didn't even know he was gonna leave because they were still in talks of, because he wanted a long-term contract, or that was supposedly he wanted a long-term contract. Because and then he got traded. They said it was for 2 picks, and then they said it was our first and second round of this year, which I feel like is a steal. And I forget the exact numbers of the contract, but he's the highest paid receiver in NFL history, right?
Yeah.
Which I think it's well deserved. He's definitely a top receiver. You know what you're gonna get out of him. We already have other weapons. So I'm so excited. Like the Raiders were so quiet the first couple of days of free agency, and we were getting memed and we were getting trashed. I was even trashing my own team. But yeah, we came out the next few days with so many moves, and I'm so hyped. We even got Chandler Jones too.
Yeah, huge.
Chandler Jones.
I wanted the Niners
Max
to get him.
Crosby off the edge. Yeah. So Davonte Adams and Chandler Jones. Wow.
And I think one thing, sleeper too. I know you guys are still in the mix with Gilmore, as with other teams. The guy you guys traded for from the Colts, I actually like. He's pretty good. I forgot his name. Yeah. He's not a bad corner at all. It honestly pains me to hear all this, like, actually Raiders making good moves and like good signings. Was the trade a lot? I mean, I don't know. Are you going to get a receiver in the first round as good as Davonte Adams? Probably not. Only thing that you could ever say is, like, with draft picks, you get him on a cheaper contract, but that doesn't matter. You guys had the cap space, so literally perfect from you. And Chandler Jones, perfect, because I think one thing you guys lacked on last year was having someone on the opposite side as Max Crosby. That'll just, like, now it's like it's gonna be havoc. I mean, like, pick your poison. Yeah. Upgraded secondary. I don't think you guys are done yet either. And
yeah, we submitted, like you said, we're still in the running for Stephon Gilmore. I'm pretty sure I read some stuff that we submitted an offer to him like a couple of days ago, but I haven't heard anything since. So I don't know if he's still deciding. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. I wanted the Niners to go for him. There was, like, always reports about it, but they went and got Ward from the Chiefs. So I think that closes out on getting him. And then also, I don't know if you remember Jaquaski Tart that dropped that pick that, like, cost us the game this year. And I mean, he's had a couple big drops in his career. But we just signed another safety, so they're probably not going to bring him back. So it's probably the end for him. But yeah, other free agency, Allen Robinson to the Rams. That's big.
That was I didn't expect that, to be honest.
Yeah. I seen a weird thing that they're still trying to bring back OBJ.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I don't know how they have,
and they're shopping Robert Woods, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. And plus, like, OBJ, I don't even know how long he'll miss. Was, I believe, torn ACL, right?
I'm pretty sure it was the same one, right?
Yeah. So
Which
I don't
isn't
know,
that
but I
crazy?
think
Like, have you heard like of an athlete re-tearing their ACL? Not a lot of athletes.
I know. But I mean, maybe Packers go get him now.
Who, OBJ or Robert Woods?
Yeah, OBJ
Yeah,
or both. They need
or
help.
both. Yeah.
If they don't take a receiver in the first 2 rounds, I think Rodgers is gonna boycott again, but or the fans will probably go crazy. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy too because it said the Packers offered Davonte Adams the same contract, but he just didn't want to play there anymore.
More. I read more. They offered him more.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, him choosing the Raiders and Carr is big, I guess. But other news, Juju Smith with the Chiefs.
More AFC West.
Yeah. I like it. I think it was time for Juju to leave. Juju, I really like Juju's first couple of years, but like I don't know what he just with the dances and everything. I feel like he's lost a lot of fans, but
He's
I don't
cool.
know.
I like him. I mean, I also got a pick with him, so I'm kind of biased. But he's cool. I feel like he got a lot of hate for the TikToks.
Him and Jackson Mahomes about to put up numbers in Kansas. They might be the most hated. If they make a TikTok dancing together, it's gonna be like the most hated video. But I think the biggest news since we last talked, Deshaun Watson to the Browns. Crazy.
Yes.
Flipped the script, I guess. It was Atlanta and
the Saints
that were like the final two. I don't know if we talked about that last time. It might have happened after. And then I guess the Browns kept recruiting still after he said no.
Yeah, he said, remember so he informed the Panthers that he didn't want to go there, right?
Yeah.
And then so everyone assumed that his top 2 were the Falcons and the Saints. And then out of nowhere, just pops up. He's going to the Browns.
It's weird too, because that whole situation, they let him have completely free. He was basically a free agent, but gonna get traded. So
yeah, because everyone had already offered their like trade packages pretty much. So
yeah, basically.
So pretty much they were okay with all of them, and then it's just up to him wherever he wants to go.
Exactly. And then all those teams and owners were like basically like like trying to like wine and dine him like like a top free agent, showing him the facilities, everything. Little Baby and Quavo couldn't get into Atlanta. I saw like uni pics of that, and I thought it would be cool. He's from Georgia. Honestly, I thought that's where he was gonna go. But then the Brown thing came right out of nowhere, and now, like I said last episode, I think Baker to the Colts makes sense.
Yeah, and he said that's where he wants to go.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I want the Niners to get a pick for Jimmy, and that's like the only team left.
Who, the
Colts?
Colts.
I don't know who else would make sense for Jimmy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you think he'd want to stay to be a backup?
I don't know. They might let him. I've heard reports too, even before all the free agency happened, that I think it was Adam Schefter said like, don't be surprised if Jimmy plays another year in SF. So I'm like, fuck. But like, I don't know. I also think once the season starts, or like if an injury happens, then his trade window will open back up, because there's always a quarterback getting hurt, and a team that like a top contender team always needs like a good backup they'll go trade for once someone gets hurt. So I don't know. Hopefully he finds a team that he likes and all that. But
so back to Deshaun, like a good question, I guess, to propose is, what do you think like drew him to Cleveland? Like out of those, I guess, 4 teams or 3 teams.
I honestly don't know. I feel like New Orleans, out of all the teams that were in the mix, New Orleans had the best probably roster
team. Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
I think also Cleveland has a underrated good roster. Baker held them back a lot when they had their like full, Jarvis, everyone there. I thought it was a really good roster. Their defense was good, run game good. Their O-line got better. A lot of the times they lose big games was because of Baker. But I think New Orleans for sure had the best defense, weapons probably, especially if Michael Thomas comes back. Maybe there's question marks with there. That's why he didn't want to go there. And just the New Orleans culture, he maybe with all the things that happened recently, he probably just wanted to go to a place, there's not really much you can get in trouble for in Cleveland, I feel like.
Yeah.
But that was so shocking to me. I don't know. Even with Cleveland in the mix, I don't know. Was it a good choice, do you think?
I mean, I guess, yeah, because you got the bag, but as far as winning, probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with all this other stuff, like the AFC getting loaded. Why wouldn't you just go to the NFC?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the AFC is about to be unreal. Um, if you were him, where would you have gone?
Saints or Panthers, probably
Also,
probably
keep
the
in mind
Saints.
other teams that weren't in the mix, but you like, fantasy ones or like things in your head that you're like, maybe he could have went here and it would have been better.
Oh, then maybe probably like the Colts.
Colts.
Colts or Saints, yeah.
I was thinking Pittsburgh. I think they
Oh
have a
yeah,
elite
Pittsburgh's a good one.
defense.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's a good
I
one.
don't know if they could afford him. We'll talk more about Pittsburgh in a little bit. I wrote down Saints. I think was like out of those teams in the mix. I think Niners legit. I know I'm biased, but I think we have the best like roster that would like plug in an elite quarterback and we could compete for a Super Bowl.
But I don't think you guys would have anything to trade.
Trey Lance, that would be the only thing, which is kind of like
Yeah, I don't know.
we just traded multiple first round picks for Trey
Yeah.
Lance. So we would have had to include that. But maybe like we would have had to throw in someone else that like would have hurt us. But I think Also, one thing maybe Jets, New York market. I think they're getting better. I think they made good moves in the offseason. They actually have a good coach and a good GM now.
Yeah.
So I think they're getting better. They signed our boy, our lineman. So I think the Jets are getting better, but yeah, I guess Cleveland. We'll find out this year. Touching on another team, Steelers. Ones that jump off the page, they lost Juju, they lost James Washington, but I think they got a lot better in free agency. They signed 3 linemen, James Daniels, 26 million, Mason Cole, 15 million, Chukas Okafor, 30 million. They signed Levy Wallace, who's a solid corner, and then they re-signed Akilla Witherspoon, who was an old Niners corner, I really like him a lot. They got Miles Jack for a steal, I think.
Yeah,
I think
that
it was
was
like
a
2
steal.
years, 16 million. Their linebackers already like good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just plug him right away, and that defense just got a lot scarier.
Well, I know too, like Devin Bush, he
Yeah.
was really good coming out of the draft, and then when he tore his ACL, I guess he coming back, he hasn't been the same. So I think they're trying to fill that hole, and Miles Jack is a dog.
I think that was like a perfect fill in. And then for quarterback, they got Mitch. Mitch is weird. I think actually Mitch is going to succeed a lot more on Pittsburgh than he did in Chicago. I think the whole Chicago situation from top to bottom was just like destined for him to fail. Him getting it, like I know him and the coaches didn't get along. And I don't think anyone will get along with the coaches. Not saying it like Mitch is a bad, like, you know what I mean? I think he's like actually a good teammate and like a good person. I think Pittsburgh's perfect for him. Him sitting in Buffalo, probably he learned a lot too, just behind Josh Allen. And his stats weren't terrible on the Bears. So we'll see with Pittsburgh. I think they maybe need to get him a weapon in the draft. Another one. Because Deontay Johnson's good. Chase Claypool showed good his rookie year, but then sophomore slump. I don't know. What do you think? I think their defense is solid. They upgraded their O-line.
My whole thing is like he's gonna be a bridge quarterback, right? Like he's not gonna be your franchise quarterback, right?
I don't know, dude. I think I don't know. Do they have a first round pick this year?
I'm not sure.
If they do, maybe go for like a late one of the quarterbacks we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's gonna be your franchise quarterback. So like, if you're gonna have a bridge quarterback, like someone who's gonna be an in between guy, I don't know. Like they could have just stuck with who they had or drafted someone. Like
I don't know. I disagree. I think what's his name? Mason Rudolph. No, not Mason Rudolph. Mason what's his name?
Yeah.
He's a backup to Big Ben. Is it Mason Rudolph?
Dwayne Haskins? I
No,
like Dwayne Haskins better.
He's so bad. What's the pro's name that
Haskins?
got into it with Myles Garrett? Am I tripping?
That's Rudolph. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I was saying the name wrong. I think he's terrible. He is terrible.
He is terrible.
Pitt knows he's terrible. Big Ben was terrible. They gave him like a retirement tour. I think literally, I think Pitt could win the division with Mitch. I'm gonna be bold and say it.
Wow. Wow.
I think they could. I think
So
if
Cincinnati just doesn't exist, or what?
I'm telling you, I don't know. I think Cincinnati might drop off a little.
They
Baltimore
just got some linemen, and
I
that's
know,
all
bro.
they needed.
I'm telling you, bro. Just trust. I think
All
if they, I'm gonna say that statement with them getting a top receiver in the draft. If they get one of the top 5 receivers, I think they could be really good. I think they'll make playoffs for sure. I'm gonna say that.
All right.
Confidently.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here. We can move on unless you have anything else.
I think that's it for now. I'm sure we'll cover more. We'll cover more. Yeah, we'll move on. It's gonna be tomorrow. Hopefully, we get this episode out in time or a little bit before. But tomorrow is UFC London. It's a fight night, not a pay-per-view, but I think there's still some good fights on there. So we're gonna go over our picks, and I think B has a little parlay he built. So personally, I like choosing value in picks. And there's some fighters a lot of people know on these cards, like Paddy Pimblett, Taporia, but they're like minus 500, minus 700, and I personally don't find value in that. Anything can happen in a fight. So I chose 2 fights on the card that I'm gonna roll with. I'm not gonna I might parlay them with some college basketball picks as well, but the two that I chose are the co-main and the main. So I have Arnold Allen. He's the younger fighter. He's like 28. He's going to be fighting with a home crowd. He's a slight favorite at minus 115. So I was going back and forth on this fight, but I'm leaning towards Allen. I just feel like his trajectory is only going up. He does have a lot of decisions, not really much of a finisher. But yeah, with that home crowd and just being the younger fighter, I think he has more ways to win too. He can wrestle and he can strike. Hooker does have a chance because he's good at keeping the distance and being the longer fighter. This is his first fight, dropping back down to 145. So we'll see how that weight cut also affects him. But yeah, they both look good at the weigh-ins. I'm going to lean with Allen on this one. And then for the main event, it's a no-brainer for me. I have Tom Aspinall also fighting with the home crowd. He's only minus 130 favorite, but I think he's going to blow him out of the water. He's so fast. His hands are so fast. And I think he's a next star. And I love his approach. He's come out publicly and said he wants to take his time at this title run. Like, he doesn't want to rush it. You've only seen bad things when you try to rush fighters, and he knows that. Yep. He's only 28. So yeah, he's taking his time. And then other than those two, the only other matchup I might look at too on the card is Paul Craig versus I think Nikita Krylov. I like Paul Craig as well. He's a submission specialist. He's the one that you saw, or you sent me a TikTok of him snapping Jamal Hill's arm.
Yeah. Who's he fighting in this one?
He's fighting Nikita Krylov.
That's in the prelims, right? Or no?
I think so. Yeah, it's a light heavyweight fight. So yeah, Paul Craig, same thing, fighting with the home crowd. He's from like Scotland. He's a plus 160 underdog. I don't know. I just like him coming off that big win. He's gonna he's on a 4-fight win streak, and he's the only fighter to beat Ankalaev, who's one of the top 5 in the division right now. So I'm gonna roll with him. Krylov's good too. I think he's ranked like number 9 or something. He's also in the top 15. But yeah, those are my 3 picks as of right now. And then you can go.
So touching on what you said, I was debating on the Tom Aspinall, like you said. Yeah. You got me wanting to bet him just on things you said. Yeah. I was kind of worried though, because this is by far his toughest, I think, fight.
For sure. Yeah.
He's fighting a ranked number 6 guy. So that's always scary. The things like home crowd, especially I feel like in the UK, if it goes to decision, I feel like they always give it to them. The UK like is crazy. One thing I disagreed with you with that I think I'm gonna bet as well. Was Dan Hooker. I think I was on a ride with Dan Hooker. I think he could just finish him. He has a finishing capability. I think this will be probably Allen's toughest fight. I think it's a really tough fight. I'm scared to bet it honestly, but I like Dan Hooker, so I'm thinking about betting them maybe just straight up. I'll talk a little bit about Patty, of course. He's such a big favorite though, like you're saying value. One thing I was thinking about betting value, he's minus 550 straight up, but I believe by finish, either TKO or submission, they have him minus 185.
This is Patty.
TKO, submission, or knockout. So you get a lot more value there, cuts down the price, because I think if Patty wins, it'll be that bad. I don't know if he's gone to distance yet in the UFC. I think it's only I'm pretty sure he hasn't. Moving
he
down,
only had that one fight. That was his only fight.
Ilya, of course, big hype on him too. I was gonna pick him. I think I'm just gonna pick him straight up in a parlay if I do bet him, which I will. And then moving on, I had Muhammad Mokav, I believe his name. You know what I'm talking about? He's born, I think, born in Russia, but he fights out of London. 6-0 in the UFC, 6-0 in MMA, 22-0 in amateur. I think this is his UFC debut fight. He's 21. He's a flyweight, but he fights like really mature from what I've seen. I think he's like a next, like, I think this card has a lot of like good like young prospects, like stars. So I'm going to be betting on him. Jack Shore, he's Welsh, so he kind of has that crowdish.
Jack Shore, I like him.
He wrestles, he jab, and I think he'll probably wrestle this fight. And I see it going the distance. I think he's 15-0 MMA, 4-0 in UFC. And then Ilya 11-0, 3-0 in UFC. Really good wrestler in jiu-jitsu, like we know. The Dan Hooker. So I had a parlay of Muhammad, Patty, Jack Shore, Ilya, and Dan Hooker. So $20 wins 98. I'm thinking about doing that. If you want more, was
that with the Patty finish, or was it just the
Patty regular money line? Okay. So which isn't a terrible fight. It honestly comes down to, and speaking of the Patty thing real quick, I feel like he worries me how he fight, like with this keeping his chin up and stuff. He can get caught. Like he says, like, "Oh, I'm a Liverpool dude. Like we don't get knocked out." But it worries me honestly, especially like out now he's fighting tougher and tougher fights. But if you add the finish, Patty to win by finish, it actually takes the odds to plus 678. So 20 to win 136, which I'm thinking about doing. Just at $20, just a reference. Also, if you want another, just like not as risky, because I was thinking about the Dan Hooker, I'll probably do these two bets: is the Patty by finish, Muhammad straight up, and Lilia straight up, and that's plus 108. So maybe if I like bet $50, I'll win a little bit more than 50. That's what I'm thinking about. But those are my picks for the UFC card. Maybe I'll add more with the main event and co-main event. We'll just see.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Moving on. So sticking to UFC today, they dropped a little interview with Conor McGregor at his little pub. I think it's in Ireland. But one of the quotes that went viral was how he was pretty much saying he is still deciding on what he wants to do right now. But it sounds like right now he doesn't want to drop back down to 155. He wants to fight at 170. And the only fight that interests him is Kamaru Usman, which is for the title. And he was pretty much saying that Usman's not a threat to him. He can't strike. All he does is wrestle, and even on the ground, he has no submissions, and he pretty much said his ground and pound soft, so there's no threat to him. And he was saying, like his fight camps without having to cut weight are going to be an advantage to him, whatnot. So, what are your thoughts on that?
CTE, man. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. Connor, he's so funny and like exciting. And the craziest part is like I could see the fight happening. Cause I mean, who's Usman gonna fight next? If they get that as like
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like,
maybe Shemaev, but
yeah.
he
But I
still
feel
has
like
to
that's
fight
still a little bit
Burns, and then
exactly. I feel like that's a couple fights away. But like Connor, what is he like 0-3 in his last three, I believe.
yeah, something like that.
And I don't know, like he talks crazy. He's Connor, so he'll probably end up getting it, which is sad. But it will low key be exciting. I think Usman will probably just mop the floor with him. Um, he thinks Khabib can wrestle. Usman can wrestle as well.
Yeah,
And I don't know why he's saying like Usman doesn't have hands. Ask Jorge.
yeah.
Uh,
His hands are
but
only getting better.
craziest thing is I think with Connor, I think Connor was best when he was cutting weight. He looks so big now. I don't, and like his conditioning, there's no way his conditioning's better from fighting, moving up weight and putting on that
Yeah,
muscle. He looks
yeah.
so thick. I think it's more of like how he likes to look, like lifestyle. But I think he'll get another payday with Usman, and I think Usman will mop the floor with him. I mean, you never know with Connor, but I think Usman would mop the floor with him. Yeah, I don't know how he stops his takedowns.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
He's so much bigger than him too.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy to me. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know why Connor would do that, because if he loses 4 straight fights, even on his last fight, dude, like he lost and he was still saying stuff about like Poirier's like wife and kids, and like
Yeah.
he just looks bad, bro. It just looks sad. It's sad. My ideal fight for Nate, I know I'm skipping a little bit because I know we're gonna talk about, or my thing for Connor is like the third with Nate. I think that would be like so fun. And
Yeah, I
like
think that has to happen.
yeah, and I think like Nate's been saying like he has like one more left for the UFC. So I think that's ideal. I think that'd be perfect. If they don't get Usman, I would love Nate and him as a third. I think that would be another one of the most giant pay-per-views, even without them both being, like title contenders right now. I think
Hmm.
that would still probably sell more than any other of these cards.
It's just like
But yeah,
finishing the story. Like it has to be.
exactly.
It
It
has to
has to be.
happen.
Because
I don't
like
know.
in my head, I still think, and I think in Nate's head too, maybe even Connor, but he won't admit it. I think Nate has the best of him because Nate finished him,
Hmm.
and then the other one went to decision. And even then, some people say Nate could have won. You know what I mean? So I think they have to run that back. They just have to. And with Nate, like who knows how many more fights we'll get out of him? I think that just makes perfect sense. Um, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. So like you said, Nate, I think he has like one fight left on his contract, and I guess we'll just talk about it now. But he tweeted today, right? It was today
Yeah,
that he wants to jump on the card on a Bellator card with one of his teammates,
I think it's
which was
like in
kind of
Hawaii.
crazy. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is kind of crazy because he
yeah.
still has I'm pretty sure he still has a fight left with the UFC, but that just says like I'm pretty sure that just says he wants out. Um, I'm pretty sure he's not gonna sign an extension. Who knows? Maybe he'll go to boxing and try to get even more money.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that you're right. That has to happen. That fight has to happen with Connor. Like
If I think
who
if
doesn't want to
Connor
see
doesn't
that?
exactly, and I think like with Connor with Usman, I don't know. I don't know if Dana would. Do you think Dana? I feel like Dana knows Connor will get, and Dana only has so much more value left. If Connor loses 4 straight and gets dominated, he loses that pay-per-view just audience. I mean, I know he'll always get the audience,
Yeah.
but it's just like a lot less appealing. You know what I mean? Like people are just gonna be like, whatever. He's just talking.
Hmm.
I think Nate, he has a chance to win with Nate. It could get him right back on track with like being in the news. I think if he fought Nate and then maybe fought Usman, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. And he get 2 giant paydays. Um, so we'll see. Also with Usman, and you mentioned boxing. I know you saw the clip of like
Oh my
Canelo.
god. Yeah.
He's like, Canelo's
Dude.
like, payday, payday.
Dude, he would
Usman,
get swept off the floor if they boxed.
it would be the like, I don't know. Like I think Conor did better against Mayweather, he did better in that fight than Usman would do against Canelo.
Yeah.
Because Canelo, I think, would like literally embarrass him.
Because he comes to fight. Like he'll come to knock him out. But
and also he was saying like the payday thing. Does he know how much Canelo makes?
I'm probably, yeah.
I don't know. He said, and I quote, I'm pretty sure he was like, "Oh, Canelo's saying payday, payday. Yeah, payday. It'll be the biggest fight he's ever had." Dude, Canelo has like a $365 million contract. He's not worried about money. He's getting paid way more than Usman ever will. And it's not even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on to I think our two best friends in the MMA world right now.
So kind of relaying off Conor's struggles. So Khamzat Chimaev and Darren Till, who are like best friends right now in the fight game, they tweeted out pretty much welcoming Conor, that if he wants to come back, they're willing to, to help train him or whatever, which is I think is hilarious. Chimaev's undefeated. He's supposed to be a rising star and a champ someday. And then Darren Till, he's had a great career. They've been training together, and they've been like, I don't know, I feel like the stepbrothers of MMA.
It's literally like the best like duo. I think we like, I love Till, and I know you like Till too.
Yeah.
And like it's sad with us seeing how Till like fall and rises. But I think training with him only is gonna help Till.
Yeah.
I think it'll get like Till's laziness, because you see Till sometimes show up to fights and he doesn't look his body doesn't look as good. You know what I mean? His confidence. But I think this only helps Till. I think the same with Conor if Conor comes, but I think like Till would be like a really good like, wrestler to like give you like what Usman's gonna do to you, or you know what I mean? And just the work ethic of Chimaev, I think is like would help Conor. Just being around like that young dog again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that would, but I don't think Conor would.
He wouldn't. He's too tied to like his roots, which is respectable. I don't know.
Yeah. But those two are like literally the best, like funniest duo in MMA right now. Like I love seeing them at like fights, like in the audience, and all their videos just are so funny.
Yeah, they
you guys haven't
like
seen
YouTube
it
videos, and like
if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's hilarious.
But
yeah, I think we got to move on to the next thing, which is probably where I talked the most about. Crazy March already. March Madness is back in full effect. Literally like unreal. Like you always think, like when I was looking at the brackets first, I'm like, I don't know, like some of the like obvious upsets, like how we thought with like who am I missing?
Upsets?
Yeah, but like upsets we saw coming.
Michigan? I don't know.
Yeah, Michigan, LSU, we knew they were gonna lose.
I guess TCU kind of counts. That's 9 seed, but we said that was gonna happen. Who else do we see? We said Murray State's not a.
Yeah. Anyway, the upsets I feel like that we just always miss happen, and it just makes it so fun. You want to start down the first topic?
Yeah, so we're gonna try to cover most of the games. Obviously, the first 2 days covered the first round, and then tomorrow and Sunday are going to be the second round. So we're going to try to give you guys predictions and picks for those as well.
Yeah,
so
which will probably come out today, the same day.
Yeah,
we'll probably try to have it out by tomorrow morning. So
first game, we're not going to go by how they were scheduled. We're just going to go off the bracket, but we'll say what matchups they were. So the first game, Gonzaga 1 seed versus Georgia State. Gonzaga won by 21. It was 93-72. Any thoughts on that?
Quick things. Gonzaga dominated as always, but I think they need to clean it up, especially in their next matchup against Memphis. They shot 27% from 3, 5 for 18, and free throws. You think they do better? 16 for 30, 53%. You got to clean that up.
Yeah.
You don't realize it because they won by what, 21
points.
but they went against a 16 seed, and next with Memphis back, you can't play like that. So we'll see.
So yeah, quick
thoughts?
note from me. I think the spread was at like 22, and I bought it down to I think 18 or 19. So I covered that. But I was sweating because they were only up 4 at half, and then you know, they're pretty much the only team in the country that can go off like in a short span of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I wrote this note down. They went on a 21-0 run from the 10-minute to 5-minute mark in the second half. So that's 5 minutes. Crazy. They went 21-0 run.
And they're like the most efficient offense. So it makes sense how they could go in that quick of a run. But yeah, crazy. Sorry.
So yeah. No, yeah, that's pretty much all I had for that game. We can move on to the next one. Boise versus Memphis. It was an 8-9 seed. I know I can take this one. I'll start with this one. On the podcast episode, I was leaning Boise because of their seniority. I feel like they were the older team. They would come ready, and the fact that they played in a defensive-minded conference, with like Colorado State and San Diego State. A lot of teams that play great defense. They were going to be used to that. But funny enough, the day of, I actually had 2 of my parlays with Memphis on them. I felt like, I don't know, my mind just switched because they were the better team. They were playing like the better team as of late. They were the hotter team. So I rode with them. Unfortunately, the parlays lost because of some other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it kind of played out how at least how we expected. Memphis was the more physical team, and you could just see it.
Yeah, I thought I picked them in the thing as well, but I just thought they had the better talent, and I thought they would just squeeze it by. I think they did. I think that was a tough game. Boise's not bad, but yeah, one thing that actually I feel like noting that's going to help them in Gonzaga. I thought we were both. I don't think we realized was Amoni Bates came back and played.
Yeah, I saw that. He only played for 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping maybe they're just like we don't want to use him. We save him for Gonzaga. Maybe yeah. I think they're gonna need him for Gonzaga to like match up on those elite players. I think like players like Amoni Bates are gonna help you with Chet and those type of like players. He might not guard Chet, but you know what I mean. Just like high level 5-star,
even just depth, because Gonzaga is going to be running up and down the court like no other. Exactly. So you're going to need players to keep up.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. We talked about this too. It was like if one of the 1 seeds that gets upstated early, it could be if Memphis won, which they did, and Amoni Bates is coming back, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right, moving on to the next one. It was a 5 versus 12 UConn versus New Mexico State. New Mexico State pulled off the upset. You can take this one.
Yeah. Teddy Allen could be like the next name for the tourney. Like, that every year there's like a staff gymmer. Teddy Allen put on a show, 37 points, 4 from 7 from 3 with like clutch shots all in the late. And he was getting like, he was just the second half, last couple of minutes, he was just on the screen taking over, hyping up the crowd, flexing. He like literally defeated UConn. The team shot 11 for 17, 64% from 3, and 13 from 13 from free throws, which is huge. That's how you upset teams. We talked about this last week. Free throws and 3, not turning the ball over. That's how you beat them. Impressive win for New Mexico State. I think they could go on a run. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't like completely shocked because New Mexico State is not a bad team. And Connecticut I didn't have them going deep. So and I've watched a lot of their games. They're kind of up and down. But yeah, I wrote in my notes, Teddy Allen in all caps. Like you said, 37 points. He shot 13 for 13 from the line, from free throw line. And then I also put down no other person on the team, no other person on his team on New Mexico scored in double digits. So he literally put the team on his back.
Am I tripping? My notes might be wrong. Let me check. Keep talking.
What happened?
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah, but he literally put the team on his back. Dude, like some of the shots were questionable. Like he would put up 20-foot fadeaway shots, but he just had the ultra green light. Like you could tell
Okay,
tell the
I
team
wasn't tripping with my stat. I wrote this down and I thought I was tripping. So like
Okay.
you said, 37 points, 4 to 7 from 3, like we talked. You said he had 13 free throws, 13 for 13. Craziest stat, the team shot 13 for 13 from free throw. He was the only person to go to the free throw line.
No way.
That worries me,
No
but
way.
at least she shot good field, free throw percentage. I feel like his other teammates are gonna need to like get to the line and help.
Yeah.
Because it'll be hard for him to just keep busting out these games.
Especially
but,
especially we'll talk about it later because we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about round 2 matchups. But if against Arkansas, he's gonna need some help. Yeah.
But speaking of Arkansas,
Yep. The next game was a 4 versus 13, Arkansas versus Vermont. Arkansas pulled off the 4-point win. Yeah, I mean, it was a nail biter. It was pretty close, but Vermont was a pretty good team. A lot of people had them upsetting Arkansas. They were 22-1 in their last 23 games before that one. So they were a good team. People might, I haven't looked at the odds yet, but people still might have New Mexico State over Arkansas, but we'll see. I'm still high on Arkansas.
Me too.
They're playing a tough team, and a lot of these first round games they're still trying to get out their first round jitters. So
yep, 100%. One thing too, I wonder with that matchup, just like a quick talk about, I'm hoping that the betting odds with all the hype coming on New Mexico State makes it a close, so you get value out of Arkansas. Because I'm big on Arkansas. They didn't look good against Vermont. I think everything says New Mexico State could pull an upset, so hopefully the betting odds are closer. And I don't know if New Mexico State can play another game like that. The rest of the team didn't do much, to be honest. And Arkansas is good. They could shut them down possibly. But we can move on to, this is the game that I talked about that we thought was an upset, was Alabama against Notre Dame. Notre Dame 78, Alabama 64.
We thought it was going to be who played Notre Dame?
Oh my God.
Who played Notre Dame? Wait, I think it's down here. Oh, Rutgers. We thought
Rutgers.
If Rutgers won, they would beat Alabama, but it was Notre Dame. They beat Alabama. So that game was actually today. A note I wrote down, some sad news. Javon Quinterly went down with the injury early on in the game. It was within like the first few minutes. Some people think it's a torn ACL. I haven't heard anything on it yet.
It looked like a torn ACL.
Yeah.
And if you guys the name doesn't, he's like one of the Jelly Fam OGs. I don't know.
Transferred from Villanova. Yeah.
Like Alabama thought was perfect for him. It's sad that he got hurt so early too in the tourney. Because who knows if he would have played the rest of the game, they could have won. You know what I mean? And he could have went on a better run to showcase. But terrible news. Hopefully it's not a torn ACL, but prayers up regardless. Notre Dame, Cormac Ryan.
Yeah, that
29 points.
That dude went off.
7 from 9 from 3. The team shot 62% from 3 and 91% from the free throw line.
Jeez.
Good, really good stats. I like.
Not a lot you can do on Bama's end. You're gonna lose that game probably 10 times out of 10 if another team's putting those numbers up.
But yeah.
All right, we can move on to the next one. This game was also today. It was Texas Tech versus Montana State. The only thing I had when I watched this game was Texas Tech's defense. Claims.
Yeah, I wrote suffocating.
Yeah, and we knew going into all year they've been playing great defense, right?
Yeah.
But this was like on another level. It was actually fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's impressive too because like most high-seeded teams that came out with jitters, and we're talking about all these other teams not living up to their full potential or like, you know what I mean, playing their best. They came out no funny business.
Yeah,
suffocating. They forced 16 turnovers.
Yeah,
and besides the like obvious dominating defense, 60% from 3, that's a good sign. If they can keep putting up those numbers and shoot good free throws and their defense, they could go on a run. I think we know now. Like they put the tourney on watch. I don't know if you have anything else.
That's it. Next one, Michigan State versus Davidson, 7-10 matchup.
Oh my God.
We did last episode both say We're riding with Team Izzo. He pulled off the 1-point win, 74-73. But I do have a confession. I did take Davidson +3, which they also covered.
And as a good co-host, when JT told me he took it, I switched the bet and I took Davidson +1.5. It was like last minute, and I rode with him, which also hit.
Yes,
but
sir.
I wrote Michigan State paid refs.
Yeah, there were some questionable.
The end of the game, the refs were way too much in charge of that game. Fouls, unnecessary fouls called. I feel bad for Davidson because they were hitting like big shots at the end too to like keep them in it.
And they had the lead for majority of the game too.
Yeah, and even that play with I believe his name's Yi. He's one of like the Asian players on Davidson, the guard.
Lee, yeah.
Yeah. He had like they called a charge on him and they went to replays.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't have called that. But yeah, Michigan squeaks by 1 point. I think their time's coming to an end next game.
For sure. Yeah, so their next matchup, they also won their game. Duke versus Cal State Fullerton, 78-61. I personally don't have anything on this. They got the job done. Yeah, I mean,
literally, I wish my notes Duke take care of business. Nothing much to say. That's literally. We'll see more from Duke in this game. A well-coached team with Izzo and a better team than Cal State Fullerton. Mm-hmm. So I think this next game will show if Duke is really about it or not, if they can go far in the tourney or not. So we'll see. And Coach K's last run, I feel like he's got a lot of hate too this year and like the last couple of years. So I think. Imagine him winning it all this year. That would be crazy.
That'd be wild. Speaking of taking care of business, another 1 seed, or not another 1 seed, but a 1 seed that did take care of business. Baylor versus Norfolk State, 85-49. Baylor looked like themselves. I mean, they might not have depth because of the injuries, like we talked about, but they turned it up. You could see they were intense on defense. They were knocking down shots. They have a bunch of scorers. Again, just that depth question is a question mark, but they looked good.
Yeah, I put Baylor dominates. Their depth is going to be the biggest question mark for the rest of the tourney. But yeah, their defense forced 15 turnovers. Norfolk State shot 30% as a field goal and 22% from 3. So not good stats. We knew this coming in. Baylor had a good defense, but the biggest concern is their depth. So we'll see as the tourney gets better. But that's all I have for that matchup.
All right, the next one, North Carolina versus Marquette. It was an 8-9 game. North Carolina blew them out of the water, 95-63. So I did not expect this. I was actually pretty high on Marquette at the beginning of the year. Shaka Smart's a great coach, and they were a pretty good team. They went on a roll, beating they had a lot of quad 1 wins. But they kind of folded at the end of the year. They didn't really have a good offense. It wasn't flowing well. They were just chucking up shots. And in this game specifically, their best player, Justin Lewis, got shut down. He shot 2 for 15 from the field. On top of that, North Carolina was knocking down a lot of shots, a lot of threes, and they had control of the tempo. You could tell they were just running up and down the court at their pace. So yeah, North Carolina looked really good.
Yeah, it's weird. I picked North Carolina. I picked North Carolina for all my everything. I bet on them for everything. I wish I bet on them straight up a lot money. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't see Marquette beating them. But I wasn't as confident, I'm like, they could lose, I guess. But I should have bet way more money. But their senior, they had that, that ginger guy, Brady Manick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He dropped 28 with 11 boards, 5 from 10 from 3.
Going. Yeah,
and he was going off. So if he keeps going off, and like senior play too in the tourney's big, especially with a lot of freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
So North Carolina, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. All right, next one. We called this St. Mary's versus Indiana. Yeah. St. Mary's blew them out of the water, 82-53. I don't know how people were choosing Indiana. That St. Mary's is the real deal. I think this is the quietest backcourt in college basketball. No one's talking about Logan Johnson and Tommy Kuhse.
Tommy Kuz.
They combined for 39 points, 14 of 28 from the field. Yeah, like we said, this team plays amazing defense. They held Indy to 34% from the field and 20% from three.
Yeah.
So they play great defense and they don't make mistakes. So I'm excited for their next matchup too against UCLA, but we'll talk about that later.
I was hoping Indiana was going to upset him. I was talking hella shit because I know JT was really high on St. Mary's. He's been talking about it the whole time. And I do not like Tommy Hughes. He bothers me with his bald head and his beard. But yeah, they took care of business. The first half was actually close though. And 23 on Indiana just had me on all the highs. So, but yeah, they took care of business. I think the next game is like a really next game we're talking about UCLA. They barely squeaked by. They played against Akron, a 4 seed versus 13. They won 57-53. UCLA did not look good. I'll be honest with you. I think Jaime, I literally was like, Jaime is the only one out there trying. Jaime Jaquez, my boy. They just played so sloppy. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think they'll win again if they play like that. They shot 35% from field goal percentage. Jaime had 15 and 9, but the rest of the team just nowhere to be found, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. I've said this for a while. I feel like they play a lot of ISO ball. And I feel like last year they're riding off the confidence of Juzang.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they're gonna beat St. Mary's, but Juzang and Jaquez combined for 6 for 22 from the field and 2 for 8 from three.
Juzang, that's most of his stats. Jaime, but I think also Jaime shot like really good from free throw. I think he was like 8 for 8.
But I looked at the odds again for this game. I didn't look at the rest. But St. Mary's is a dog, so best believe Underdog? I'm betting on them. Yes, they are a dog for this game against UCLA. So I'm betting big.
Oh wow. Yeah, Jaime had 8 for 9 from free throw, so he was figuring out a way to get to the line, which is important, especially when you're about to blow a game like this. The second half, when it comes to the last couple of minutes, you got to get fouls and get to the line and get like easy points. But I'm be honest, if they play anything close to how they play, they're gonna get blown out by St. Mary's. But sure. I might have to bet on UCLA again. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. How are we doing on time?
We're at 52.
All right, we can run through these a little bit quicker. Texas, Virginia Tech. I don't have much to say. Texas played pretty good. They won by 8. Played good defense. That's all I got for that one.
I think they'll probably lose next round. I think
for sure.
Congrats, Texas. You won. You didn't lose the first round, but I think their time's coming close to it. And I don't see them competing.
So their next matchup's Purdue. Their next matchup's going to be against Purdue. Purdue won 78-56 against Yale. It was a 3 versus 14. Purdue played good, but I still don't buy into their success. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna win it all. But
that game, it's weird because it's only one game and it's against Yale. But I was a little bit higher coming in on Purdue, but I think they'll beat Texas. And honestly, the craziest thing is the next matchup below that is Murray State and St. Peter's, which we'll get to. But I think they could beat both those teams too. So they might actually get far with their strength of schedule. But I had them going a little bit farther than that. But I think once they play one of these legit teams, I think we know what's going to happen.
Yep. But these next 2 games, I think they were the game of the day on the first day for the round 1 matchup. So Murray State versus San Francisco, 92-87 in overtime. Murray State won. The next one was Kentucky versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's pulled off the upset in overtime as well, 85-79. Those were the 2 games of the days, and they're funny enough going to be matching up against each other. So, Boye from San Francisco balled his ass off. Unfortunately, they were missing one of their bigs, who they could have used. I think his name was Masowski. He would have been huge for them. He averages 14 and 9. And they got rebounded 43-35. So they could have used his 9 rebounds. But yeah, those 2 games were crazy. Any thoughts on that?
That Murray State and San Francisco, I picked Murray State and I bet on them. That game was crazy. Either team could have won. Crazy and like just drilling threes. Exciting game. This is like why we love March. The game I want to talk more about is the Kentucky and St. Peter's game. That game had me so hyped. So I actually watched St. Peter's when they played in their tournament before to get into the tourney.
Their conference tournament?
Yeah, their conference tourney. I was watching with my roommate. Craziest thing ever. That Doug Eddard. We were watching him
off
in
the
conference.
bench.
Yeah. We're watching him in the conference tournament and he just came alive and we're like, Doug. All right, whatever, not thinking anything of it. Then we're watching this game. The second half, he came alive. He dropped 20 points, 2 threes, all late in the game, shot 8 from 8 from the free throw. He only had one offer coming out of high school, and it was
crazy.
St. Peter's. St. Peter's gym. I think this is in history of NCAA. Even though they're not a 1 seed, it was the biggest upset for a school's budget and how much they spent on the facilities compared to each other. They're out of Jersey.
It's wild.
Banks on St. Peter's. He dropped 27 points, but I think Doug Eddard took over the game, and it was just crazy. He's a junior, 6'2", and he's out rebounding Kentucky at the end of the game.
One thing I took note of. Go ahead.
It was one of the it was one of the best performances of the tourney, especially against a number 2 Kentucky. But I'm so high on St. Peter's right now. Like, that was so fun. His Instagram, it was so funny. We're looking during the game at halftime, and he was at 1,800 followers. And then right now, before we recorded, he's at 6,500. So he can be one of the the blow up stars of the guy you remember from the tourney. But yeah, don't forget.
So one thing I took note of,
Doug Eddard.
There you go. You heard it. One thing I took note of, Kellen Grady, Kentucky's best shooter, as well as Ty Washington, who's a projected lottery pick. Those 2 players combined 3 for 19 from the field. Yeah. So they got shut down, weren't making shots. Oscar Tshiebwe went off for 30 and 16. He's been doing that all year. He just needed some help, but
they were an 18.5 point favorite as well.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Arizona next game, 1 seed going to the South region, Arizona versus Wright State. I don't got much to say. Arizona won by 17.
These we can move through quicker.
Yeah, they did their job, even without their starting point guard. Next game, 8-9, Seton Hall versus TCU. I think we both took TCU. Yeah, TCU. I don't know how they were underdogs. Yeah, they won by 27. Yeah. Mike Miles Jr. is a stud.
I think TCU is a scary matchup for Arizona as well. Like, if Arizona doesn't come ready, TCU could beat them easily. They're a really good team. But yeah, moving on, like you said.
Next game, Houston UAB. So I think I had Houston winning this, but I wanted to take a little juicy spread. I bought, I think, UAB. What was it?
I think
bought
they were
UAB
9
plus
2 point.
Yeah, I bought plus 11, and they ended up losing by, what is that? 78-14.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah, something like that.
I liked UAB a lot. Jelly, my boy Jelly Fam. I think we'll talk about this later. But I have more things to say about it. But it's coming up with one of our topics. But Houston, so good, man. They could not miss. They could not miss. They had on real defense. They were putting pressure. Every time they went to the basket, everyone is collapsing and going for a block. Their defense looked really scary. Kyler Edwards, 6 from 8 from 3. And he was just taking over.
They have shooters and they play good team basketball. And I don't know if you knew this, but I had them, or I think they would have been a Final Four team if Marcus Sasser and Tremont Mark didn't get hurt earlier in the season. So those two are some of their best players. Sasser averages 18, and Mark averages 10.
Yeah,
And
I think you plug those guys in, they're easily a top 4 team.
They haven't played with them since like the beginning of the season because they got hurt early on. But yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah, R.I.P. Well, no, he didn't die, but like it's sad with the jelly Jordan Walker. So we can move on.
All right, the next one was Illinois versus Chattanooga. Illinois won by 1 point, 54-53. Not much to say.
So I hit on a 17 parlay. A lot of favorites because it's day 2 of the tourney. It was a lot of big like favorites and like there wasn't a lot of value. So I just put like a big chunk of money, like a whale play on like a lot of the favorites. And I had Illinois and Wisconsin. And oh my God, this game had me sweating out the shoes, bro. Illinois, they suck so bad. Their offense has no flow. They're terrible. They're so bad. I don't think I know it's not how you Cockburn. How do you pronounce it better?
It's like Coburn, but
Coburn. Yeah. Spelled Cockburn. He is huge. He's so big. He's huge. But I was getting so mad because they would literally like not feed him. But then when they would feed him, it'd be like a sloppy pass. It'd be like a turnover. And I'm just like, there's no way they're going to lose this game. But yeah, they are so bad. I think Houston will beat them by 20.
Yeah, Coburn played with Cole Anthony and Cam Thomas at Oak Hill Academy when they were in high school. Yeah. But yeah, I watched a lot of Illinois basketball, and you're right, they don't have any flow to their offense. Like, they run like a 3-guard lineup, and they have some of the streakiest shooters in all of college basketball.
Dude, they couldn't hit anything.
They're two lefties. Like, they're either hitting fucking 100% from 3 or nothing.
I literally had all this money on the line, and they make good passes, swing the ball, swing it to the white boy in the shooter in the corner, wide open. He hits the side of the backboard. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. In crunch time, I almost lost my mind. But thank God they won 1 point against Chattanooga. They actually played really good. It's kind of sad they got out. That would have been a cool upset.
All right,
if I didn't bet on it.
Next one, my team. Look at this. Michigan beat Colorado State. They technically upset. It was a 6 versus 11. 75 to 63. Favorites, right?
So I think
yeah.
I know a lot of people were betting on them, including me. I think everyone saw this upset coming. Michigan's a better team than 11 seed rank. But I think they had a really good matchup with that. So
great matchup.
Yeah.
The height difference, and then huge step up performance by Frankie Collins, our freshman point guard. He stepped up with 14 and 6. And then Hunter Dickinson had 21, his usual. It's going to be a tough matchup against Tennessee.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Tennessee runs them. But
yeah, Tennessee beat Longwood by 32. They're playing their best basketball, I think. They have some huge bigs in the post, and then their guards are electric. So we'll see. Got anything on that game?
Same from exactly what you just said. So we can move on.
All right. Loyola versus Ohio State. It was the morning game. Ohio State beat them 54-41. It was a 7 versus 10 matchup. Only thing in my notes, both teams defense.
Yeah. Literally wholly under.
Yeah.
Yeah, combined 95 points. I don't even know what the under was, but I know that you're chilling the whole game. You're probably with the second half. You're like, yeah, no way that over hits. I woke up late on this game because it was one of the early games, and I was so hurt when they're losing. I was like, damn, Sister Jean's probably gonna fucking die after this, from her heartbroken. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was just always on the Loyal. They won me so much money in tourneys before, that I was like, I will just, it's one of those where I'll just bet on. It's like a dignity.
Ohio State was banged up, and the 2 players that were hurt ended up playing today, so that's part of the reason. Next game was the 2 seed versus 15, Villanova versus Delaware. They took care of it. They won by 20. We're both high on Villanova.
Yep.
Yeah, not much to say there.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Kansas 83, Texas Southern 56. Kansas scary. I think everyone realizes again, like, I have future odds on them winning the whole tourney. I love Kansas. I love Uchai. So they took care of business. Nothing really much to say.
Cool. And then 8 versus 9, San Diego State versus Creighton. Creighton won 72-69. It was a tight game. Unfortunately, something to take note of, Creighton, their center, Kalkbrenner, got hurt. I don't know if he's going to be available. It looked like a pretty bad injury. He's 7-1, holding it down in the middle. So if they're without him, they're probably gonna lose.
Yeah.
And they were already missing their starting point guard in Ryan Nemhard.
Yeah. I think they needed everyone healthy for the next matchup against Kansas.
Yeah.
If the center's not ready to go, I don't think they win that at all. They don't even come close. Yeah, that was one of the ones that I lost that kind of hurt San Diego State.
Yep.
I had San Diego State. I thought their
Me
defense
too.
would take care of it, but
Me too.
I think a lot of people, San Diego State was a big betting favorite, so that hurt. And it was a close game, kind of sad, but that's just the way of the tournament. You don't come ready, you get bounced.
All right, next
we can
one.
move down, big upset. Iowa.
Yep.
To Richmond. Rich what?
Richmond.
67-63.
Yeah. Richmond's a good team. They beat Davidson in their conference tourney. That's how they stole the bid. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I was too surprised because Iowa was kind of due for like an off game. They've been scoring 90, 100. But it happens. All it takes is one bad game and you're out. It's not a series in this tournament, which sucks. But
disgusting performance by Iowa. Fans should be ashamed. I'm ashamed. I had Iowa going kind of far. I had them losing to Kansas once it hits that, but yeah, not good. I know this was one of the ones that busted everyone's bracket in the country. I think they were the first big seed to lose, right? But yeah, now I'm just riding on chaos and Richmond. So
next one was a 4 versus 13, Providence versus South Dakota State. Again, everyone was riding on that South Dakota State wagon. Me and B said on the last one we were gonna fade it, so we went with Providence, and they pulled it off 66-57. They're a scrappy team, have a good coach, so that should be an interesting matchup against Richmond.
One thing too for the viewers, sometimes in betting, one of like the big tips, when everyone in the nation, you're like, oh, it's gonna hit, go against it. When sometimes it seems so obvious, fade it. I know it's crazy, but it's just the way, like, fade the nation usually. But yeah, we can move on. Another upset I think we saw coming was LSU lost to Iowa 59-54.
So
Iowa State.
I actually had LSU in this one until their coach got fired, literally a day or two ago, and it was because he had like 5 allegations of paying players and paying their family members or whatever. But yeah, I think this had a toll on them. They lost by 5. Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of crazy though too, because that whole situation is crazy, and we'll hear more about it. But like losing a coach that early to the tournament and then the intern stepping up. I saw Chuck on TV talk about it after. He said like, good job on the coach to like get the players ready, and they played for that coach. They lost still, but it was a close game. I had Iowa State as an upset team. I don't know. It just made sense to me. But yeah, we can move on. Wisconsin and Colgate.
Yeah.
Closer game.
Remember we said who's the high seed or one of the top seeds likely to lose? The last episode, I said Colgate could pull it off if they stop Johnny Davis. They didn't quite stop him, but it was still a close game. So imagine.
Yeah. Literally, I think your play was right until crunch time in that game. Johnny Davis took over. Yeah. Which he needed to do. I was worried. So Wisconsin was the last bet of my parlay. And I was just sweating it out. And I'm like, I think when we're messaging in the group chat, I'm like, dude, these guys at Colgate can't miss. It was just like they had potential to upset a team, and Wisconsin barely squeaked by. I think it'll be a good game with Iowa State next. That's one of those good games.
All right. Yep. And then the last 2 games cover really quickly. USC versus Miami. Miami won 68-66 in an upset of a 10 versus 7 matchup. All I got to say is USC's fraudulent. And then the last, or you can cover that one.
Yeah. USC frauds. I had USC. I didn't bet on him, but I had him in my March Madness. So yeah, we can move on.
And then the last game, Auburn versus Jacksonville State. They won 80-61. The only thing I wrote down for that was Jabari Smith's poster, which was freaking crazy. and
Crazy.
then his stats. So he had 20 and 14, which is a stud performance by a top 3 pick. So
Yeah.
do you want to go into the round 2 matchups? We can just say who we have. We don't have to
I
really
think
break them down.
Yeah, I think we do quick. So Gonzaga, Memphis.
I'm gonna go Gonzaga.
I'm gonna go Gonzaga.
All right, New Mexico State, Arkansas.
I'm hoping, like I said earlier, I'm hoping New Mexico's high makes it a betting. If it's close in betting, I'm whaling Arkansas. Even though they had I think they can only go up, and I think New Mexico State can only go down.
All right. Next one, 11 versus 3, Notre Dame versus Texas Tech. I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
Texas Tech as well. I hope the spread's close. I'll bet Texas Tech if the spread's close. Yeah.
All right, and then a 7 versus 2 matchup. We got Michigan State and Tom Izzo versus Duke and Coach K. I'm gonna go Duke.
Duke as well. I think though, let me just say, if Duke hasn't, this will be their toughest matchup of the tourney so far. Of course, is Fullerton. So we'll learn a lot about Duke with that game.
For sure. All right. Then the East region, we got number 1 versus number 8 in Baylor versus North Carolina. I feel like the odds are going to be pretty close for this because North Carolina blew Marquette out of the water. But I'll probably still take Baylor.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, and I'm hoping the odds are close because I think North Carolina can't get higher after that game. So I think Baylor will pull through.
All right, and then we got a 4 versus 5 matchup: St. Mary's versus UCLA. I am taking St. Mary's money line no matter what.
Do you know what it is? Or no?
I think they're like +1 something.
So it's like close, like so basically split.
It's pretty close, yeah.
All right, I'll spice it up and go UCLA just to go 50-50.
All right. Then we got what is this? 6
Texas
versus
Purdue.
3.
Yeah.
Texas versus Purdue. I'm gonna go with Purdue. All right, 7 versus 15. Murray State and St. Peter's. I'll roll with Murray State.
St. Peter's.
You're going St. Peter's?
I'm dead ass going St. Peter's, and I'm gonna bet money on St. Peter's. Doug Etter, let's go.
Okay, I'm going Murray State. We're going to the South region. We got 1 versus 9 in Arizona, TCU. I got Arizona.
I'm not gonna lie. If it's big points, I might take TCU points, but I think Arizona will win the game.
It'll be big points, I guarantee it. All right, 5 versus 4 matchup: Houston, Illinois. I'm going Houston.
I'll bet anything on Houston. Illinois pissed me off. I want them to get bounced so bad. Houston.
All right, 11 versus 3, Michigan, Tennessee. I'll go Tennessee, but I'm gonna throw a side bet on Michigan.
Are you?
I
really?
Gotta throw a side bet. Yeah,
you gotta show the viewers. You gotta show proof.
So hold on. A little stat too that I wanted to share: in their last 5 games from 3, Tennessee 58, 43, 40, 42, and 67 from 3%. 58, 43, 40, 42, and 67.
So they're due for a bad game.
You could look at it that way.
But with that being said, I am taking Tennessee.
There it is. All right, 7 versus 2, Ohio State, Villanova. I got Nova.
All
right, we're going to the Midwest region, the last region. 1 versus 9, Kansas versus Creighton. With Creighton's injuries, I'm going to go Kansas.
I'm going to go Kansas as well.
All right, 12 versus 4, we got Richmond, Providence.
This one's good.
I think I'm going to go Richmond.
I was going to go Richmond, but I feel like what Richmond is kind of what they played against with South Dakota State. And I think they'll take care of business again. And I don't like Providence, but I think this is one of the ones where like a team could go on a run. But I'm going to take Providence.
All right, 11-3 matchup in Iowa State versus Wisconsin. I'm going Wisconsin.
I'm going Wisconsin too, but I think this will be a really good game. I think Iowa State has a chance to win if Wisconsin doesn't come ready again. So
all right, and then the last matchup of the round of 32, the second round, we got a 10 versus 2 matchup in Miami versus Auburn. I'm gonna go Auburn. All right. Again, those are without knowing any of the spreads. We're just taking straight up who we got in those matchups. But yeah. What are we on time?
Things? We can do these real quick. I think we just go quick at this. So I'll ask you first, who is your MVP of round one? I didn't know if you answered this by player or if you answered this by team.
I went by player.
Okay, who's yours?
So I got Teddy Allen, like we said, 37 points, 13 from the free throws, and then no one else scored double digits. Pulled off the upset too. So
yeah. I think you're right with that. And then if I would name anyone else, I would name either Edwards, or I would name Doug with the upset over a 2 seed. I don't think it gets bigger than that. So yeah. Last, or do you want to do the next question? I kind of like that.
Yeah, sure.
So JT thought of this. If you had a like a revive button out of all the teams that lost in the first round, who would you bring back? And then who would have the best chance to make a run? I answered it two separate, who would I bring back, like personally want, and then who has the best chance of making a run? I think we have the same chance for best chance of making a run.
Who you got?
Who'd you pick? I picked Kentucky. Obviously, their talent. But for a team I would bring back would be UAB. I think they're more exciting. I think if they had that center was nice too. He's like built. You know what I'm talking about? He had some bang outs. I think they had a really tough matchup. I think if they would have played a Illinois, they would have beat them. Someone like that. So
I had SF and SF healthy, and then I had Iowa, like you said, a kind of who we would want back, like a favorite one.
That is true. I didn't even think about Iowa.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right, what else?
We already did our round 2 predicts. So you guys have that. Updated Final Four. We can do it real quick. Cool. I think we just say who we think's coming out of the West, like West, East, all that. Okay, cool. Who'd you have for West?
Gonzaga.
I have the winner of Gonzaga and Arkansas.
However, I'll be rooting for Arkansas.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Next region. I got St. Mary's.
And that's the East?
That is the East.
Yeah. I have Baylor or St. Peter's.
Okay. I had St. Mary's or Baylor, but I think St. Mary's.
Yeah.
All right. Next one, we got the South. I got Villanova.
Okay, I went different. I think whoever wins that game between Arizona and Houston when they play, I think that's who wins the South. So yeah, and then the Midwest.
I think this is the toughest side of the bracket.
Yeah, by far
the South.
By far, the South is on smoke.
And then Midwest, I think, is the weakest. But anyways, who you got from the Midwest?
Kansas
as well. All right.
One thing I thought would be cool is like, if it probably won't happen, but it's cool to think, a 10+ seed that could win it all. Who do you have? I picked 2.
You can go first.
I picked obvious St. Peter's because I'm just loving them, and then but I think New Mexico, New Mexico State. Sorry, yeah. I think those are the only 2 that are 10+ seeds that I could see winning it all.
I would say Richmond, or Michigan.
Cool. Yeah, I think Michigan was a smart pick by you. And then closing up, we just want to do another one of those quick games we did at the end. This one's the NFL again. Do you want to ask it, or do you want me? Or
you can ask it. I don't have it.
Yeah. So we did would you rather have. This one is kind of like backups from last year to like could be starters this year, but probably backups. Who would you rather have on your NFL team? Just any team. Mariota, Mitch, or Tyrod Taylor?
I would probably biasedly say Mariota.
Yeah, I'm pretty biased on Mariota as well. One player I love is Tyrod Taylor. I love him. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's like a really good, like, no drama. He'll win you games. He won Houston games. Every situation he's in, it just kind of like screws him over. It's kind of sad. I think he's like the most screwed over quarterback in the league.
Do you know how old he is now?
No, but
I
he's
feel like
got
he's
to
been
be
around for a while.
10 plus,
But
yeah,
I don't
probably
know.
like 12
Yeah.
plus seasons. But yeah, I think he's a really, I think him and Mariota are the best backups in the league by far. Could be starters on teams. We'll see. And then the last one, this one's tough. It's kind of gross. I don't even know if I want to ask it. Who would you rather have of Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones?
Matt Ryan now.
Yeah.
Oof. Maybe Jared Goff.
This one's tough, man. Because like obviously Matt Ryan's had a better career than both of them because he's older and stuff. You know what I mean? But Matt Ryan now is Atlanta doesn't want him. Like they were going for Deshaun. Jared Goff, the last end of the year, he did really good. But before that, he stunk him up and the Rams got rid of him. Daniel Jones, he's so young and there's so much bad stuff around the Giants that you don't know if it's the Giants or him. But I think he has maybe one or two more seasons left to prove it, or they'll probably go in a different direction. I picked Jared Goff.
Hey, we're on the same page.
Yeah. But I think that's it from me. I don't know if you have anything else.
Yeah, I think that's good for our second episode. Wraps it up. We're thinking about possibly recording again after round 2 of March Madness ends. Just to recap those. Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll probably try to record Sunday night and then put it out Monday.
UFC will be done by then too, so we'll recap UFC.
Yeah, we'll recap UFC.
Recap March Madness. More free agents out there. So we'll probably recap that.
And then some fun news. I'm hopefully gonna try to go to an Elite 8 game here in San Francisco too. I think it's hosting the West region. So it's probably gonna be like Gonzaga and someone else.
Is it the Elite 8?
Yeah.
Would that be? It could be Duke Gonzaga or Texas Tech Gonzaga.
Someone.
That would be really good. Or Arkansas. Yeah. That'd be a really good game. That'd be fun to go to. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Sunday as well, we'll probably post something. We just started a Twitter as well, the Sus Pod. We're going to post a lot more gambling picks on there. We always post gambling picks on our Instagram, and like we've been hitting. I hit 2 big parlays today. JT's been hitting crazy parlays. JT's fire for UFC. I hit on the last UFC card big. So we're literally doing really good right now with our bets. So message us if you have questions as well. Message us on Instagram. We'll probably post something on Sunday, like, things you want us to talk about for our next episode for Monday. So yeah, like and subscribe as well. I know a lot of people, we had like really good people show love. So if you can subscribe as well and maybe comment, we saw a lot of people comment, like Alfred, shout out Alfred.
Yes, sir. Shout out to me.
Shout out to me.
Yeah, like you said, just interact with us, show us love, whether it's questions, feedback. If you guys have picks yourselves, or analysis, breakdowns, anything, like we're willing to listen. We want to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe you guys might change our mind on a pick. Who knows?
Yeah, 100%. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, we'll try to get this out. I'm going to stay up all night and get this up tomorrow morning. Yeah. Thank you guys. Love y'all.
Thank you guys. Later.
Later, bitch.